Hello, everyone, and welcome to On Purpose Astrology. I'm Mandy Lockley. I hope January is working out well for you. I hope positive things are happening and practical things are getting done and intentions are being set. I talk about intentions because today, on the 18th of January, it's the first quarter moon in Aries. For more or less, if you're a beginner in astrology and the moon phases, I'll just sort of explain what that is. So the moon has a 28, 29-day cycle. So we had the new moon on the 11th of January, and now we have the first quarter moon. The new moon is the dark of the moon. There's a video about that you can go back and watch. It's when the sun and the moon are conjunct, which means from our perspective on Earth, the sun and the moon occupy the same space in the sky. And then when we have the first quarter moon, it's the next phase of the moon. From the new moon onwards, the light starts to grow. That's called waxing. The moon is waxing, the light is growing, the energy is growing, and things then start to happen. So by the time we get the first quarter moon, which is when the sun and the moon are in a square aspect, i.e. they're in the sky, they look as if they're 90 degrees angle to each other. That's when we have more action. We can see the result of some of the intentions that we might have set at the new moon. We can set new intentions as well. And then the next thing will be the full moon. That's the culmination. That's the full light of the moon, where we can really see how the last couple of weeks, the previous couple of weeks, have panned out for us and what the result can be. And then we have the releasing and letting go. We have the waning of the moon. So then we have the last quarter moon, which is another square between the moon and the sun. And then finally, the new cycle begins with the new moon again. So it's a monthly cycle. You know, it's very monthly cycle, the sun and the moon. It's has things to do with the tides as well, and the menstrual cycle for women. The moon, the lunar, is very sort of feminine energy. So as I said, this first quarter moon at the moment is in Aries. So we're talking really about the energies for the next week or so. So if you're watching this after January the 18th, this will still be quite relevant, and especially when I talk about some of the aspects that come into it. So let's have a look at the chart. Don't worry if you can't read a chart, it's just a graphic. Some people like to see things visually. So you can see there in the 5th house, I've circled the moon, which is in Aries, and then I've circled the sun, which is in the 2nd house. Ignore the houses. This is set for London. So in your chart or in a different part of the world, this first quarter moon will fall in a different house, most likely, in different houses, most likely. As I've said, we're in the first quarter moon now, so the moon has already started to grow in light. It started to grow in energy. As I said, we can see some of the results of what we planned or what we intended under the new moon. Oh, excuse me for sneezing. It's that time of year, isn't it? Coughs and sneezes if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and it's winter at the moment. Do excuse me for sneezing, but what did you intend or what did you plan under the new moon? How's that working out? When you get the first quarter moon, you can see where you might need to make adjustments. You see where you might need to make a few changes, or you can see where you can set new intentions if you didn't set any intentions or plan anything, i.e. plant those seeds under the new moon. So reset your positive intentions. The cycle is also about letting go. So letting go of the past, letting go of things that you do no longer need, specifically to this moon cycle, because the conjunction was in Capricorn. Capricorn is about the past. And so as this cycle goes towards the new moon that's coming up in Aquarius in, I think, early February, we can kind of contemplate what we need to let go of so that we can move forward. And this is a very strong theme in some very strong aspects that are also coming up, which I will talk about. You can probably see there in house 2, the sun there. The sun is the round circle with the dot in it. You can see it's conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. I'll talk about that very shortly. So the light is growing. We can see more of what is happening. We have more clarity. It's a time where we look at nature and we can see that sunrise in the northern hemisphere, of course, because it's winter here, sunrise and sunset, the day is starting to get a little bit longer. So that gives us more time and more energy. So this is the moon cycle. Every monthly moon cycle is also attached to the time of year and the seasons. So it's different if you're in the southern hemisphere. You've got the culmination of summer rather than the culmination of winter. You've got that going towards harvest. Whereas for us in the northern hemisphere, we're going towards new growth, looking forward to new growth. Where new growth is needed in our own lives is a theme that we can also follow if we follow the rhythms of nature, which is very useful to do. Now, it's an Aries new moon. So what does that mean? Well, sorry, it's an Aries first quarter moon, not a new moon. What does that mean? Well, it's where you might need to take action in your life, where you might need to take the lead. It's a cardinal square. It's a cardinal first quarter moon, which means the cardinal signs, which two of them are Aries and Capricorn, which are the signs represented here. So it's about initiation, initiating something. We've already talked about resetting those intentions. It's about making time and space. Capricorn is about time, making time and space to take action. And taking action can mean finding courage to take action if it's something that's out of your comfort zone, something that you need to change. Change and empowerment is a strong theme for this first quarter moon simply because Pluto is there. So how can the astrology help us? The planets don't make things happen, but they reflect what happens. We can have the energy, we can target, we can channel the energy that these and the vibrational energy that these planets offer and bring to us. We can channel that in positive ways, or we can channel it in negative ways, or we can do nothing. But we really can use these energies positively if we know how. Even though you look at something with Pluto here and you think, oh gosh, it's going to be really difficult, it's going to be really dark, it's going to show us things we don't want to see, it's going to show us the shadow side of things. But we can also take it as empowerment. So what other things can we look to get the benefit from this first quarter moon, as I say, from the 18th for about a week? Well, Aries, the moon in Aries, as I've said, Aries is ruled. Aries is the sign of Mars, the strong sign for Mars. So then we can look towards Mars. Mars in this chart, also in house 2, is in Capricorn. It's a really strong sign for Mars. Mars is very happy in Capricorn. It gets things done. It starts things. It initiates things. And it likes to do things right. It has that discipline. Mars in Aries, for example, might be a little bit reckless. Aries generally can be quite reckless, can sort of, be spontaneous and want to start something now. Because this moon is in Aries, but it's also connected to Mars in Capricorn, it does give us that, I guess, that discipline. And it gives us that idea of acting responsibly. It also gives us courage. So whenever you do anything Aryan or Martian, it's all about courage. It's all about having fear, but doing it anyway, stepping into your courage. Where might you use that courage? Well, again, we look to Mars and we see that Mars is conjunct the planet of communication, which is Mercury. So the courage to speak up, to set boundaries, to say no, to prioritize your own needs. The moon is about your needs. Aries is about the self. Focus. Aries is focus. So focus on your own needs. Set boundaries, communicate those boundaries and enforce those boundaries. Don't let people kind of slip through your boundaries if that's what you need to do. If that's you need to look after yourself. Again, if we're in the northern hemisphere, it's winter. It's that time of kind of hibernating. We're having absolutely glorious weather here in the south of England. Beautiful. It's really cold. It's about minus something or 0 degrees centigrade, but the sun is shining. I'm looking out of my window. I can see the trees are bare, but I can see that the trees have that potential. I can see there's already some little buds forming at the end of the branches because new life is coming. This is very much the energy of this first quarter moon. So Mercury, communication. How can we communicate what we need? The moon is about what we need. How can we communicate that? How can we communicate that? Find the courage to communicate that and communicate that in a very clear, boundaried way. Also, there's a very wide conjunction from the moon to Jupiter. It's quite wide, it's out of sign, but still you've got that energy of opportunity, of growth. I've already talked about the first quarter moon, about the moon growing. Jupiter as a planet is about growth and expansion. So we really are in an expansive phase here with this phase of the moon. The the moon is trine Mercury as well. I already talked about Mercury with Mars, so that connects the moon to Mercury and Mars in another way because of the trine to Mercury, because you can see Mercury and Mars there are in conjunction, they're together in house 2. So we really do have that opportunity to communicate more easily. It might feel more easily to say what you need to say and communicate what you need to say because it's a trine. It's wide again, but it's a trine between Mercury and the moon. Trine aspect is a more flowing aspect. Things come through easily. So it's about really being honest, and it's about speaking with integrity and maintaining your integrity as well. Now let's talk about the moon in square to Pluto, and the moon obviously in conjunction to Pluto in this chart. It comes up to the exact conjunction between the Sun and Pluto on the 20th of January, by which time the moon has moved on. It's in Taurus by then. So we see the energies in this first quarter moon coming through of what the Sun and Pluto might all be about. It's at 29 degrees. I will just stop sharing for now because it's not shown in this chart, that the exact conjunction of the Sun and Pluto is at 29 degrees and 59 minutes. What does that mean? It means that it's in the very last degree and minute of Capricorn, because each sign is comprised of 30 degrees. So if you see anything at 29 degrees, you know it's about to move into the next sign. If you see it at 29:59, you know it's totally imminent. So there's that feeling of urgency, that feeling of there might be a crisis coming. Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn is about the past. It moves into Aquarius on the 21st, so the day after this Sun Pluto conjunction. It moves into Aquarius. The Sun actually moves into Aquarius on the same day as well with Pluto. Capricorn's about the past. Pluto is about what we need to let go of. So we can reflect on what happened in the past, or what we have from the past, or even physical things. Pluto in Capricorn and the Sun in Capricorn, it's an earth sign. So it's about physical stuff. It's about money as well, and security. So where do we let go? Where do we need to let go of stuff? Whether it's physical stuff, maybe it's a decluttering, whether it's emotional stuff, whether it's emotional decluttering. And of course, because the moon is in a waxing stage with this Sun Pluto conjunction, these things are going to become more obvious for us. So a few tips really for this conjunction. Where do you feel you can take back your power? Where can you hold yourself in your own personal power and try to stop giving yourself a power away to others? I've already talked about setting those boundaries and having those honest conversations under the energies of this first quarter moon. And how can you empower yourself, but also without disempowering others? That's where you have to strike the balance, I think. Aquarius, when Pluto goes into Aquarius, which it does on the 21st, Aquarius is a future-oriented sign. As I said, Capricorn can be about the past and tradition, the way things have always been done and maintaining the status quo, whereas Pluto in Aquarius means that we want to see a new future. We want change. Potentially, we even want radical change. Take back control. Take control of your own life if you can, and but without being controlling. As I say, without being in a situation where you, if you have any power, try not to abuse that power. If others are abusing you, using their power to abuse you, take yourself out of the situation. It's about letting go of what you no longer need. If you look down the video from a couple of weeks ago, January astrology goes into a lot of detail about the themes of Pluto in Capricorn and the themes of Pluto in Aquarius going forward. So at the risk of going, you know, on and making this video a lot longer than it needs to be, I'll leave you to go and have a look at that video so you can see some of the themes of Pluto in Aquarius coming forward. Another thing though, before I sign off and say goodbye, is, you know, this Sun Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, it's about experience. What have you learned? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn gives us experiences, often difficult experiences. Pluto gives us difficult experiences, asks us to see and accept things we might not want to see. It dredges up basically the crap that's going on under the surface in our society, collectively, globally, in our communities, and in ourselves as well. So how can we let go? How can we use our experience and our wisdom to move forward into the future, to let go, so that we can take with us what we need, our wisdom, our experiences, the material security that we may have, and how can we move into that future in a really, really positive way. So thank you so much for listening and watching. I have now, thank you so much, I have 100 subscribers. Please subscribe if you've enjoyed this. My 100th subscriber, I'd like to shout out Bree Well, and I have recently recorded a podcast on Bree Well's podcast, and that's going to go live soon, and I will obviously let you know when it does go live. And I'm talking about spiritual awakening, my spiritual awakening journey, and of course some of the positive aspects in astrology that are coming up this year. And it's very much designed for anyone that's interested in spiritual development and spiritual growth, but also anyone that's interested in astrology on a kind of basic level. Thank you so much. Lots and lots of love to you always. Thank you. Bye.